2018 Ducati Panigale V4. I've got 226 angry horsepower rumbling between my legs, my kickstand is up and I'm ready to tackle Circuit Ricardo Tormo aboard the all-new Ducati Panigale V4, the most highly anticipated sport bike of the year. But I'm also a tad distracted by the sound emanating from the underslung exhaust. It doesn't sound like the brand's traditional V-twin configuration, because it isn't. The new Panigale is Ducati's first ever V4-powered production motorcycle. To put this in terms readers not intimately familiar with Ducati's history can relate to, the controversial move to a V4 is akin to Porsche's abandonment of air-cooled engines, or the electrification of hypercars. The 1103cc V4 shares a layout with Ducati's exotic MotoGP race bike. Unlike the more conventional 180-degree crankshaft found on V4-powered bikes such as the Aprilia or SV4, the Ducati employs a 70-degree crank pin offset and a twin-pulse firing pattern that makes it run like two back-to-back V-twins, firing with a 1-2 pulse along one bank, a brief pause, then another 3-4 pulse. Close your eyes, and it sounds a bit like a Ducati V-twin, but with a slightly less irregular and staccato rhythm. The sound is deep, bold and familiar, related, but not exactly the same. To be fair, there have been V4 Ducatis, but they weren't production models. The limited production Desmo CDCRR, which was essentially a road-legal spin-off of the 2007 season MotoGP bike, and the 1960s-era Apollo prototype, an ill-fated would-be Harley killer, of which only 2 were built. The powerplant's unique features, such as a counter-rotating crankshaft that reduces the gyroscopic effect of moving parts to help the bike corner while reducing the tendency to wheelie, are also derived from the company's MotoGP bikes. All in all, the new V4 produces 214 horsepower, or a stunning 226 horsepower with the optional Akrapovic race exhaust, and 91.5 pounds-to-foot of torque at the crank. For some automotive perspective, that's nearly double the power-to-weight ratio of a la Ferrari, bringing this motorcycle's potency per pound closer to Formula One kart territory than any street-legal four-wheeled vehicle. While it produces incrementally more power, plus 9 horsepower, and slightly less torque, minus 2.7 pounds-to-foot, than the outgoing 1299 model, this one revs to 14,500 revolutions per minute in the first 5 gears and 15,000 revolutions per minute in 6th, spreading its torque more evenly across a broader rev range. The result is a bike that's easier to ride, and more crucially, easier to ride fast. The Panigale feels slim and compact, with a 32.4-inch seat height that might feel a bit tall for shorter riders, but is typical for a superbike. The cockpit view is dominated by an updated 5-inch TFT screen that utilizes a new interface, controlled via a more logically arranged set of buttons and toggles on the left-hand grip. Scroll through the settings and you can manage a seemingly endless number of variables, from traction control and wheelie control to engine braking and lean angle-sensitive ABS thresholds. Personalized settings can thankfully be saved and recalled. There are so many, you'll want your preferences dialed in and preserved. Out of pit lane and onto the track, the Panigale pulls ahead with a deceptively low-pitched engine note and a long-legged stream of power. Whereas the outgoing twin had a wild surge of low-end torque, the new mill feels more progressive and linear. When my instinct and ears told me it might be time to think about shifting, I glanced at the tach and saw only 8,000 revolutions per minute. Since redline doesn't come until 14,500 revolutions per minute, that means I would have left a considerable 6,500 revolutions per minute on the table, or 5,000 revolutions per minute until peak horsepower at 13,000 revolutions per minute. You could short shift the Panigale on a racetrack, but that'd get you mowed down by faster traffic. Stay on it, and there's a meaty stretch of mid-range torque and an eager climb to redline that caps off a breathtaking rush of power. While the clutch is required when engaging first gear, Ducati's so-called quick shift system eliminates the need for the left lever when shifting anywhere between 2nd and 6th. Simply kick the foot lever up and the next gear engages, tap it down, and rev matching brings the engine up to speed for the gear below, enabling smooth mid-corner shifts just like any run-of-the-mill, paddle shifts-equipped supercar. The 2018 Ducati Panigale V4 puts a bright red exclamation mark on the idea that speed worshippers are savoring a golden age of horsepower and technology. You don't have to be a motorcycle person to notice that, despite fierce competition from the Japanese Big Four, Honda, Kawasaki, Yamaha and Suzuki, Ducati's V4 is still a relative performance value. Its entry price of $21,195, or $26,995 for the V4S model with the trick electronically controlled all-in suspension, is essentially the going rate for a sensible Korean sedan.